Makes a
Makes a
difference.
difference. Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it
is
the
it the
truth?
truth? Second,
Is it
is
fair
it
to
fair to
all
all
concerned?
concerned? Third,
Will it
will it build goodwill and better
better
friendships?
friendships?
Fourth,
Will
will
it
be beneficial
beneficial
to all concerned? Thank you. All right, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation led today by Linda Waugh.
Thank you, Aaron. Place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
To
to
the
the
flag
flag
of the United
of the
States
United States of America
and to
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
God,
with
indivisible,
liberty
and
for all.
justice
for all.
So, Rotarians, I wrote this invocation tonight, last night, with kind of some thought about things that have happened around our country and the community. So, thank you for giving me the space to give this invocation. So, let us as Rotarians embrace and practice the truths of the four-way test, which we recite each week: fairness to all, beneficial to all. May we be intentional in our commitment to these words, especially in facing today's societal challenges. Let us acknowledge our common values in unity and embrace our diversity, and allow ourselves to listen with empathy and generosity. Empower us to recognize and celebrate our differences as a gift to the human family. Make strong in our heart what unites us. Build bridges across all that divide us. Guide us to be the architects of understanding, of respect and love. Amen. Thank you for giving me that space. And this month is Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Month for the community colleges. So thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Linda. Thank you very much. That was very nice. Okay, introduction of guests. I have a guest today, Gilda, whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you. All right. Okay, everybody, welcome. I am going to put in the chat a sign-in sheet in a few minutes after I introduce you all. Make sure you sign in. You just click on the link, and this is for our member Rotarians and also our guests. We'd love to stay in touch with you and invite you to future programs. Okay, so first, my guests, Jeff and Kathy Long, they're going to be our speakers today, so we'll introduce them a little bit later. I want to introduce Lynn Crandall. Lynn, if you want to wave with the green in the background. Lynn has been with us in the past. Many of you have gone to her gallery. She runs the USC Institute for Genetic Medicine. She has an art gallery that she runs, and she oversees projects just related to many social issues and puts art on the walls of this space, and she runs that organization there. So Lynn, pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I have Beverly Ohigashi. She is here representing Partnership for Awareness, interested in hearing about the talk here today. Welcome, Beverly. My colleague, Larry Williams, he and I are business partners helping families with insurance. He's here today visiting. Jennifer Wee, where are you? Oh, there we go. Jennifer, hi, nice to see you. I know you've been with us a couple of weeks, so very excited and looking forward to talking to you about membership tomorrow. A guest of Aaron as well as Sean. Michelle Garrett is visiting with us from Oklahoma. She's the daughter of Jean Broadhead, and I hope Jean is on at some point here, but Michelle, we welcome you. Let's see, Karina, where is Karina? Karina Rivera. Karina's a member.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
She's a member of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. She's on the board. She's visiting today. She's also a business owner, owns El Pavo Bakery. If you haven't gone, you should go check it out. It's in San Gabriel. And then I know we have students here that will be introduced a little bit later. Chloe along with her sister, Emma. And let's see, did I miss anybody? Did I miss anybody?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Okay, welcome
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you, Gilda. And Jennifer Wee has been here 3 times. She's interested in becoming a Rotarian. She's a guest of Sean and I. I've known her as a parent. We have kids in the same class for many years. So if you don't mind, Gilda, can I just ask her to just spend like a minute to say, talk a little bit about her so Rotarians can get to know her?
Oh, beautiful.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jennifer Wee. I have 2 kids here in San Marino Unified School District. My son is in high school sophomore, and my daughter is in HMS at 7th grade. And I was Chinese club board director for 2 years, and I have been volunteering in schools, and I'm currently working as a real estate agent for Berkshire Hideaway, specializing in residential. And I'm very happy and honored to be here today and able to see some new friends and old friends. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right.
Aaron, I forgot to mention, I see
Okay.
that Chloe's mom is on screen.
Yes,
Her name
yes.
is Lena. Hello, Lena, welcome.
Okay, perfect. All right, time to pass the pandemic pig. Begin, raise your envelopes and your contributions. Pandemic pig for polio. I see Nicole reaching, I see John, I see Stephanie and Gilda. Thank you so much. Let's see. Great, thank you all so much. And thank you everyone, for everyone that's contributed thus far. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna ask John to number check me on this, but I think we're about $2,000 in contribution. Is that right, John? Oh, you're on mute. Maybe a thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up, around $2,000 in contribution, which is amazing. So for those who have not sent in their cash for your contributions, if you can either send a check to John Jones, your check or cash to John Jones, or call Dennis with your credit card number and make your contributions that way. You can do that as well. I am gonna send an email reminder sometime in the next couple of days as well. John, did you want to say something?
Just as about 2,500.
2,500. Okay, I was way wrong. Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
Can I put a footnote on that?
Yes.
Let you know that I just got an email from Andrew Kindler from Arizona that he has asked me to charge his credit card with a $250 donation to Polio Pig.
Sounds like
Amazing.
2,750.
Okay, 2,750 now, which is amazing. Thank you all. Thank you so much. All for polio. Okay, birthdays and anniversaries. April 26th, Dan Floyd celebrated a birthday. Anniversaries on April 27th. Lois Derry, are you here today? She celebrates 32 years. Is she here? Oh, there you are. Okay, and on April 30th, Andy Barr celebrates 23 years as a member. So congratulations to Lois and Andy for your long-time commitment to Rotary. Thank you. All right, moving on to announcements. We will first do the Student of the Month, and I'll pass it over to Mr. Kurtenbach.
Thank you so much, Aaron. The San Marino High School April Rotary Student of the Month is Chloe Wong. Chloe is a genuine, dedicated, and outgoing SMHS student who is very actively involved on campus and in the community. She's been an editor for the yearbook all 4 years of school. She played basketball on the varsity team all 4 years and has been team captain for 3 years. Additionally, she played volleyball for 2 years as well. She has served the Associated Student Body as the historian and social media chair. She's also been the mock trial photographer and has worked with the International Youth Tobacco Control, which spreads awareness about the hazards of smoking and vaping for teens. In the community, Chloe has been working on her Girl Scout Gold Award and is a regular volunteer at their twilight camps. Throughout all of this, she has maintained a 4.0 GPA while taking multiple honors and AP courses. Chloe says that her greatest inspirations are her sisters, who also attended SMHS. She notes how they are always very involved in school, and seeing that growing up inspired her to do the same. In the future, she wants to study design and public relations at Chapman University. Please join me in congratulating Chloe Wong, San Marino High School's April Rotary Student of the Month.
Congratulations, Chloe. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, of course. I just want to thank everybody in Rotary and Mr. Kurtenbach for rewarding me with this honor. And again, as what Mr. Kurtenbach said, I love volunteering at San Marino and just being involved in the community because they've given so much to me. So I just like to reciprocate that and give all that I have back to the community. Thank you.
Very nice. Congratulations.
May I just
Chloe.
ask a couple of questions?
Absolutely,
scheduling?
Chris.
Of course.
Yes.
Chloe, a good win last night, by the way.
Oh, thank
And are
you.
the girls, you're playing Blair tomorrow night, right?
No, actually just the JV.
Oh, that's right, because
there.
they don't have that. But then what about, I was confused, what about Polly on Saturday?
I think that might have been rescheduled because I don't think we have a game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's,
Yeah.
okay. And then for you or Jason, what time does the musical start Saturday night?
Hey, Chris, the musical on Saturday night begins at 7.
Okay.
Great. Thanks
All
for
right.
your questions, Chris.
Thank you.
Yes. Do we have any other questions for Chloe?
I think there's one in the chat.
Was there one in the chat? Okay.
Oh yeah, so my Gold Award, basically it's educating teenagers and young adults about the harms of the environmental impact of the fashion industry. So with that, I was planning to create like a social media account educating on the Instagram platform. And then also I volunteered at one of my friend's mom's organization in downtown LA, and I taught the kids there like environmentally friendly crafts that can also like reduces waste in the fashion industry by, for example, reusing t-shirts and stuff like that.
Great. Was that like focused on fast fashion?
Yes,
Was
yeah.
Can you explain like in a few seconds what is fast fashion and how it impacts the environment?
Fast fashion is kind of like a marketing mindset when it comes to obviously the fashion industry. It's the idea where companies will just make anything that's on trend, really affordable and with really cheap labor. However, in the future and in the long run, it ends up environmentally harming just in general, I guess, because a lot of the clothes end up in landfills. The means of production are not always like ethical and, you know, the most up to standard and everything like that. So the idea is to buy more sustainable clothing by like thrifting or checking kind of how like companies produce their clothes and everything like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Chloe.
Of course.
All right. Do we have one final question for Chloe? All right, Chloe, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep doing a great job. Thank you, Mr. Kurtenbach. Thank you. Congratulations to your mom, Lana, too. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good to meet you. Okay. Is Brian Hathorn here? Brian?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Brian, do you have an update on the four-way test? Would you mind providing us with an update?
Yeah, yesterday at noon, we had the regional contest for the four-way test speech competition. We had contestants from Monrovia, Alhambra, and San Marino. We had a distinguished panel of judges. We had Brooks Clark, who was a speechwriter for 15 years for the Tennessee Valley Authority, and he's a Rotarian from Knoxville, Tennessee. We had Jeff Shimamoto, who's a former Rotarian, who we all know, with San Marino. We had Joan Ryback, who just joined the San Gabriel Rotary Club. She moved from Sierra Madre. And we had Charles Hathorn, who might be a relative of mine, and I'm trying to convince him to join the Wednesday lunchtime Rotary in Tucson now that he's retired and he's moved there full time. For the contestants, the third place contestant was Amy Wong. The second place contestant was Radit Redda, who we all saw in our local meeting. She finished second. And the winner was Charlie Heatherly. Having compiled the scores, it was really close. Among the judges, it was basically an even split. Had somebody gotten a penalty for a time being over or under the time, it would have switched the results. So that's how close it was. It came down to a point either way for the contestants. Charlie will be competing at the district level, and that is going to be held Saturday, May 22nd, 2021 at 10 a.m. Via Zoom. Ginny is going to be coordinating that, and so if anybody wants to tune in by Zoom, you can get the Zoom address from her. I'm sure that she'll give it to you, and I think it'll be good. I saw the San Marino contestants speech at the club level, and she really did a good job, and she remastered it, and it was she really stepped it up and made it a better speech for the West region. So I think these students are really working hard, and I think that they deserve to have us attend if we can to see them do their thing.
Great, thank you so much, Brian. Okay, our next announcement. This Sunday, May 2nd at 2 p.m. is the East Meets West Confronting Bias and Hate Crimes. As you know, our club is co-sponsoring this event. I know they just added the Rotary Club of South Pasadena, and you can see at the bottom who the co-sponsors are. Allow me to bring up the list of speakers. You see some recognizable faces. Our own Chief Encontro is the keynote speaker. And we have this woman here, Linda Waugh, on the panel as well. And then our moderators include Isaac Hung. So you can register based on the link that we sent on the Rotoscope. If not, you can go to the East Meets West Club, and I can post that website on the chat right now. And we can get as many Rotarians to support as possible. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, next is the Tribune. San Marino Motor Classic is back. So as you know, efforts are being made to ensure that this year's Motor Classic is a success. We're looking for all Rotarians to help in 3 different ways. One is for sponsorships and donations, if you know of anyone who'd like to sponsor or donate. 2 is for ads or booths. If you know a business that'd be interested in putting an ad in the program or having a booth at the event itself, please let us know. And 3 is to help sell tickets for general admission, to VIP, or for the gala. That's a big help. And I'm just going to recite some of the contributors already. So Rotarian sponsorships, these are Rotarians that give a sponsorship amount. One is Andy Barr. Thank you so much, Andy. And the other is Dennis Neer so far. And then Rotarian source sponsorship. This is a Rotarian that's gone out and got sponsors for the event. Dennis Neer has been able to procure 5 people to help sponsor this event. So thank you so much to Dennis. And then gala tickets. We have one Rotarian who's purchased 2 gala tickets, and that's Paul Broussard. So thank you so much. And of course, congratulations to all of us. We have purchased 1,000 tickets at $7,500. So please give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, lastly, don't forget, we are dark next Thursday during lunch due to the wine tasting event. The wine tasting event is May 6th, and I'm not sure what time that starts, Gilda. Do you know offhand?
I think it was 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Who's ordered their wine? Raise your hand. Anyone? Stephanie, JP, Gilda? Okay, so you don't have to order wine if you want to join us. So it's free to join. There's no money involved. Just bring your glass of wine and join us for the wine tasting event. And we'll make sure we get an update in next week's notice. Okay, Let's see. We will resume our regular Thursday lunch meeting on Thursday, May 13th with a presentation from the Community Grants Committee. All right, and without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Gilda to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay. All right. So I want to welcome Jeff and Kathy Long. I met them, myself and Larry, we met them through LinkedIn about 6-7 months ago. And we were on the call, getting to know each other. And Jeff shared with me a personal journey that he's been on. And I immediately said, we got to have you come and speak at Rotary. So it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. Let me tell you a little bit about their background. Jeff is a film and video producer and director. He has helped many Fortune 500 companies market, sell, and explain their products and services. He's taught at Columbia College of Hollywood, written a book, A Parent's Guide to Anorexia, and recently started the nonprofit teensforteenshelp.org with his wife, Kathy. Jeff agrees with the Mark Twain quote, "The two most important days of your life are the day you are born and the day when you discover your why." Helping teens and families heal from mental health issues is his why. Jeff is a Phi Beta Kappa magna cum laude graduate from USC School of Cinematic Arts. We have many USC people here. You're in good company. Kathy is a licensed acupuncturist and has been in practice for over 25 years. She and Jeff have 2 children, one at UC Davis and one headed somewhere in the fall, yet to be determined. She believes in the ripple effect and knows that by improving the life of one person, you impact many, and has seen this firsthand in her medical practice. I'm wondering why you're not a Rotarian yet. She loves working outside, spending time with the family, animals, and the ladies in her book club. I give you Jeff and Kathy Long.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, we want to thank you, Gilda, and everyone here. We're happy to share our stories and ideas with you. Now, Gilda, did we already pass out the poll questions, or should we just kind of talk about them generally?
I can put the poll questions on the chat right now. So give me a second and I will do that.
Okay.
Then we want to do them after the talk. We could go over.
Yeah.
Give people a minute to answer them.
Yeah, Gilda, so you'll post them, and if they can answer them during our talk, that's great. And afterwards, if there's time, we can kind of go over it. But the concept was, it just is, we'll tweak your interest in mental health and what's going on. And I'm sure you've all heard a lot about it in the last year during the pandemic.
Yeah, it's to get you thinking.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and start?
Yeah, so it is with our daughter's inspiration and permission that we have created teensforteenshelp.org. And really our mission is simple. It is to create a peer-to-peer online platform where teens will inform and empower other teens and young adults to choose recovery from their mental health issues while also reducing isolation and stigma. And we're going to tell you a little bit about our journey and how it began with our daughter, who was admitted into a residential program for the treatment of anorexia, depression, and anxiety.
Probably the worst day of my life. And I can tell you that adrenaline and panic are a very powerful combination. I remember thinking this can't be happening as I was driving my daughter to the emergency room, trying to hold together her bleeding arm.
And I remember the antiseptic smell and the gray cold steel of the psych ward and the yelling at home, the group sessions at the treatment centers with the blank faces on the children and the terrified parents.
These are obviously not our best family memories.
So at the beginning of high school, our A student was starting to have some problems. And so we took her into therapy. And really that's when the wheels fell off. That's when she was diagnosed with anorexia, depression, and self-harm. So fast forward 5 years, 3 residentials and 4 treatment centers later. And we tried every kind of therapy we could think of and afford to help her.
From neurofeedback to therapists and psychiatrists to even psychics and goat yoga. And I don't recommend the goat yoga. They don't respect your mat or your personal space at all. Anyway, we were one of the lucky ones. Our daughter chose recovery and is now in her second year online at UC Davis. We wrote a book, Parents Guide to Anorexia, to help others navigate this difficult illness. And I think Gilda is gonna, first 4 people who respond to her will get a copy of that. And it's really about just that eating disorder. But throughout our journey, we constantly ask ourselves, what were the most important puzzle pieces our daughter found to put herself back together?
And we got that answer at the end of her treatment. She was asked to speak at a high school for the 2nd year in a row. And after she spoke, a young man came up to her and asked if he could have a hug. And she said, okay, but why? And he said, well, last year when you were here speaking, I was actually trying to figure out how I was going to kill myself. And I heard your story and I asked for help instead. And it was like, wow, she saved a life. And she came home so excited and so happy that everything she had gone through was worth something, and it made a difference.
And that was really the transformational moment that led to the birth of our nonprofit. I mean, most students will not have the benefit of somebody coming to their school to talk to them about their mental health issues. And we know that teens are inseparable from their digital devices and video. So this is what makes our platform the best way to reach them. It provides inspiration and hope and knowledge and resources which reduce isolation, loneliness, helplessness, stigma, and really helps them choose recovery. And it's also a great benefit to therapists and counselors and schools and families. And the secret sauce is basically that it's teens talking to other teens, and they will listen to their peers.
And the economic impact of our project is really great because it's going to reduce those negative outcomes like school dropouts, drug and alcohol addiction, overcrowding even in the juvenile justice system. And we are here to hopefully save the lives of millions and our communities millions of dollars, quite frankly. So this is really a project of love for us.
And with your permission, we'd like to share the site and walk you through it and show you a few clips. So let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, so when you get to the site, I'm just going to kind of walk you through this. Obviously, you have your mental health topics, your resources, self-help videos about us, get involved in the all-important donate button. But what I'm going to show you to begin with is just the welcome video, and it's our daughter. It's 27 seconds, and then I'll show you a couple clips from a couple stories.
Welcome to Teens for Teens Help. We're a group of teens and young adults who share our stories of recovery from mental health and emotional issues with other teens who may be struggling. We provide our experiences to share strength and hope, letting others know that recovery is possible. We also have informational videos and resources to help people find their path towards recovery.
Okay, so let's go and look at mental health topics. We have these already with stories: depression, eating disorders, anxiety, coping with COVID, and suicide. We do want to fill out the rest. We want these other topics covered as well, and that's what we're working towards. And ideally, well, let's go to depression right now. I'll show you Olivia's story. When you first get there, there's a disclaimer because we are not therapy. We're a dissemination of information site. And the funnel that we're creating is kind of the stories of recovery is what the kids can identify with. And then after that, we have the informational videos. And at the bottom of each category, we have resources for that category. Although up here, we have all the resources for all the categories, hotlines and websites and apps. But I'm gonna first just give you a taste of a story, and then we'll ask some questions, and then I'll give you another story. And this is Olivia. And so this is just how she introduces her video.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and this is my story with depression and anxiety. My parents got divorced when I was very young. I was 4 years old, and my dad became very angry and depressed. And it got to a point where my mom decided to take my sister and I and move to Chicago from New York.
And then a little bit later, just before high school, she had to move again. And this is really her explaining her feelings.
My mom decided to move me to LA, which is where my problems really started to grow. I felt very alone because I wasn't close to my family, and I was super close to my friends, which I had just been taken away from. I grew very depressed, when I would go to school, I would sit in the back and I would just have headphones in and I would not talk to anybody. People referred to me as the girl from Chicago. Nobody knew my name because I wouldn't talk to anyone. And there were times where I just wouldn't get out of bed. And there were times that I would just not eat. And there were times that I would just go out and get bags and bags of chips and just bring it to my room, just lay there and eat.
So then she will go on and she'll talk about her journey and her treatment and what she learned. And then the last clip I want to show you in her story is just how she encourages other teens to try to get help and treatment. Oops.
Skills, and you get medication, you do the things that you need to do to get yourself to be better. I recommend going and asking for help because it made my life do a complete 180. I never thought that I would be in the place that I am today. My life brings me so much joy today, and I never thought that I would be that person. I never thought that I could have all the things that I have.
Okay, and so that's her story. I just want to show a few things, and I'm going to jump back in for questions, but all these videos can be full screen. I didn't want to use the bandwidth. They're optimized obviously for cell phones. And so if they click on this button here, they'll immediately get connected to a live human being on a suicide hotline. But I'm going to stop the share for a second in case somebody has a question before I show another story. I don't want to just show a bunch of stuff and not have you included. So is there any questions up to this point?
I saw somebody with a raised hand. I think it's
Lynn Crandall has her hand raised.
Lynn, you need to unmute.
I'm just wondering if you have heard of Peer Mental Health. It's a program of NAMI, National Association of Mental Illness. And David Israelian is one of the leaders of that. And that is a program that's working very closely with our art gallery and the ways in which we can use creativity, peers, working with peers, and much of what you're talking about. I'd love to be able to collaborate with you.
Yeah, we would too. So we'll definitely get our information out so we can do that afterwards. But we have talked to a lot of mental health organizations, and we're building those contexts. You know, what we really want to become is the YouTube of mental health for teens and young adults. And so NAMI, of course, wanted to run it the way they do. And we wanted to create this because we wanted it to be so teen-centric and friendly. Kathy will tell you in a little bit when we share again, but we have a teen board that we rely heavily on.
But NAMI's a great resource, absolutely. And we have reached out to them and we're very familiar with them for sure.
Great.
So why don't I share the screen again? I'll show you another story and then we'll just walk through a couple other things and come back for questions. So where's my screen? Okay, so we're back here. Let's do another mental health topic. Let's go to an eating disorder and hear Caton's story because eating disorders are very complicated and very difficult mental health illnesses. They can be genetic, most of them are genetic. However, they're triggered and usually triggered at the beginning of adolescence. So here's what set her off.
Result. My eating disorder started when I was 13 years old when I lost my grandfather. My way of coping with that loss was restricting my food because my appetite was really suppressed from all the emotions of losing a loved one. People began to praise the body that I was in because in turn of the appetite suppression, I had lost a little bit of weight. So people were congratulating me for losing weight, and that basically put me in the mindset that losing weight is good and being in a smaller body is good. Throughout my age.
Okay, and now let's talk a little bit about how difficult it was for her and the struggles. There we are.
My depression presented as I felt really hopeless. I felt like there was no point in life anymore. I felt like there was no point in living a life without my eating disorder. And there was even a time when I felt that I would have rather died from my eating disorder than gain the weight necessary to recover. I ended up relapsing about 7 times and going to various hospitals, various residential facilities.
And then the thing that we find is most of these kids they know the exact moment that they chose recovery. And here's how she got to that. 425.
There could be an end to it. And meeting clinicians that were recovered from their own eating disorder really inspired me. One night, she told us the story about how she recovered from her eating disorder. And we had actually gone to the same treatment center, but she had gone there 10 years before me. It was really inspiring to hear her story and know that she was in the exact same place I was. She mentally and physically, she had been there. She was so scared of food. She thought that she would never recover, but there she was, fully recovered and helping people like me. That really motivated me to recover. It gave me hope that it was possible, that there was light at the end of the tunnel.
So you can see how powerful these stories are. And they do allow for other teens to connect. And I'm going to show you what an informational video looks like so you can see that. Do you want to?
Yeah, the information that we get that we then put on these videos, we have university partners who do the research and present it to us. And then we create these more simplified versions of the information. And all of that is run through our professional advisory board. And then it goes through our teen advisory board. And so we want the information to be accurate and correct, but we also want it to be presented in a way that teens can absorb it and understand it.
So here's a 25-second clip of just this, so you get the idea of what the informational videos look like.
What is anxiety? How does it work? And what is normal? Let's take a look at anxiety in your body. There are many things that can cause anxiety, including genetics, brain chemistry, stress or trauma, an overactive fight or flight response, and learned behavior. So let's look at some of the things that are happening in your body and what you can do about it. Anxiety isn't all bad. A little bit is actually a good thing.
Okay, so that just gives you an idea. And then obviously, again, you have the resources, but I want to talk about the self-help area. This is something we're building out. We have a few things in here. We like everything. We're at the beginning of this site, not anywhere near the middle or the end. But these are things that every one of you can do. And I invite you to look at this category. We do have an art exercise here and some incredible art from teens. We have a mindfulness section. And in here right now, we have a video about getting rid of your ants, your automatic negative thoughts, and how to combat those. We have self-care coming. We have lots of quotes and affirmations that are beautiful. This button here is Mental Health Club. We have young teens who explain how they started their club. And there's a downloadable PDF to start your own mental health club in high school if you like. And then we have a yoga section. And this young lady is a yoga teacher, but when she was younger, she suffered from mental health issues and used yoga to really help her get through it. And I do this practice. It's 18 minutes. It's really easy or good. And I invite you to try it.
Yeah, we're collaborating with professionals in all arenas. And the mindfulness is from a coach who works with teen athletes. We've got the yoga instructor. We've got an art therapy instructor who does the art video. Jeff is working next week. We're doing a video on surf therapy. So we are collaborating with lots of people, as many as we can, to really present variety and information for really the teens, but also the parents as well.
All right, so we're just wrapping up here on the explanation.
So,
oops, did I stop the share?
There we go.
All right.
So our teens are really the canary in the coal mine. Our society has a big problem that needs to be addressed. And if we're going to continue to have productive members of society, it's really important that we don't lose this generation and even the next that has had so much to face. And they need our support, and we need your support to help them.
We're really looking to get this out to schools so they can use it as a tool and get the word out to their teens and young adults. We're really hungry from this. For the teens that we work with and the mental health clubs that we've talked to, they love this and are just thirsty for this information.
And like any nonprofit, we are in need of funding and volunteers, people who are interested in mental health and teens. We invite you to reach out to us. There are plenty of opportunities that you can help us move this forward. And we're just really grateful that you have given us this platform. And I do want to say that, as you can see, there are lots of topics yet to be made, and there are lots of videos to be created. We really want to have 10 to 20 stories under each category so that we can cover every gender, race, and socioeconomic category. Super important. So we've got the beginning, and you can see where we're headed, but we've got a long road to go.
And we'd love to open this up to any questions. So ask away.
Okay. Gilda, do you want me to?
Yeah, I can also take a look. I saw a hand earlier from Michelle. Michelle, I know you're tuning in with audio. I don't know if you had a question. Okay. Surfing the, okay, Chris Norgard has a question. We'll go there.
Yes. Thank you so very much. I mean, this is just absolutely outstanding. Gosh, it really, and I hope and I think and I know, because what I've seen is so great, but that the website and the online materials are organized in kind of a logical, tiered way, so that kids can go fairly directly to what affects them or interests them. The question I have is, you know, the group of teens that are the subject of what we've seen and of the program are a little bit below, I think, the average college student. But can you target particularly college kids in the first year or two? Because it hit me that, you know, there are some kids, and I speak from personal experience as a school board member, who are from high achieving schools, high achieving families, and go across the country and are subject to a number of pressures that have real mental health effects and causes. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, our target market is 13 to 25. And so we definitely are going to include more college kids. And we're also going to work with college campuses and get this on there. We've talked to a few groups, the Haven House at USC, and we'll continue that effort.
And there'll probably be a category about college and the transition and, you know, that support. But yes, that's definitely a category we have not ignored by any stretch.
Our website's only been up for four or 5 months, and this is basically what we did during our year of COVID. And so we're very excited because we know this is a powerful, helpful tool, and that's why we want to grow it and get a little bit more help so that we can get more of these videos out and up and helping people. You know, they just got to reduce the stigma and get people to understand that, you know, your head's connected to your body. And so mental health is part of health, and 80% of your physical health problems stem from mental health problems. So it's all the same thing. And, you know, by kids seeing this, hearing other kids talk, hopefully they won't be as afraid to reach out for help. Obviously there are different kind of groups that deal with this differently. And so, you know, we just want to help as many people as we can. And we know this is a great way to reach them.
I think I mentioned we are under the fiscal umbrella of A Light of Hope. So we are a 501c3 and expect to get our own number this year.
Great.
Chris, thank you for that question. I think Denise Wadsworth, you had a question?
Sure. I'm the speech language pathologist at our local middle school. So this is my cup of tea with our kids. breaking it down into child-friendly language and parent-friendly language would be something I would love to see on a site like yours. I know for somebody like me, the first thing I do when I see my kids on screen right now is ask, what time did you go to bed? What time did you go to sleep? And I had my 8th graders who were staying up till 2 in the morning, at which point I have to make phone calls to their parents going, hey, your son's up and he's going to tell me the truth because he always will, but it's because he's still got electronics in his room. And that parenting piece becomes so important in our children while they're still under our roofs. So if you have more language to help parents, because a lot of times there's this denial that there's anything wrong, and especially in a district like ours, where our kids at kindergarten know that they're different. They know that they're struggling with dyslexia, which causes them to feel depressed when they're brilliant, beautiful, wonderful children, or they're struggling with self-image because genetically they're not the athletes who are the coolest kids. And so helping with any kind of language, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's definitely something we want to do. And the ADHD and learning difficulties is another topic we're going to cover. But go ahead.
Well, we're also going to speak directly to parents, and that'll be a tab. The site is primarily for teens and their friends and to be used by teens, but we know as parents, there's a lot that we need to know and that parents need to know about dealing with their teens and supporting and helping their teens. So yes, a parent tab is on the schedule.
A follow-up question I have, because we're working with our Rotary students at the high school, this club at the high school level, to support students in our district for tutoring. How do you screen your students who are online so that people are giving safe advice?
Right. Boy, that's a difficult thing to do. I mean,
we had to go, we're jumping through several hoops just to get this started. So that's something that I'd love to know more about.
Okay, well, we can try to talk about that offline, but when you're talking about what's being safely said online in classes, or?
No, between teens and teens. Like we had to do live scan at one of our other programs like this on the West Coast for this same tutoring program. Every kid has to be interviewed, has to be live scanned, has to be checked. And in a community like ours, that would definitely be the case to keep our children safe. I see Nicole nodding with
me. And that's, we are not actually having teens communicate to teens on our site. It's through the videos.
Yeah.
In other words, we make sure, and that's why the videos not only go through our teens, but they go through the therapist as well to make sure that they're not too triggering, that, you know, that they are appropriate and we're not giving ideas. So that's all vetted, and we're making sure, you know, first, do no harm.
And I know Jeff had mentioned we want to be like the YouTube for mental health, but these stories that you hear are created. We sit down, we interview them, and we piece together their story. We make sure that any triggering information, any list of, oh, I did this drug, and they list the drugs, or I tried this means of suicide, none of that will be in our stories, because we create them to be positive and helpful and not triggering. And it is one-way communication. It's not a therapy site, it's a resource site.
Again, we're trying to create that funnel where we can capture the kids, give them hope, knowledge, and then resources, because 64% of the 9.8 million kids that have mental health problems get zero help, none. And so it's pretty easy to make a big difference once we start to capture some of the 64%. We also have heard, you know, Chris, I think, talked about college kids. We hear from kids who've been in college who didn't know that they had anxiety or depression their whole life because that was their baseline. They just grew up with it. They always felt that way. And then they take a psychology course in college and go, oh my God, I have general anxiety disorder. And I could have done this, this, or this and felt better for the last, you know, several years. And so, you know, we're trying to help and mitigate some of those things as well.
Beautiful, thank you. I think it's kind of the 1 minute before 1. Aaron, you have to tell me.
We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time.
Nicole, I think you had a question.
Yes, hello. First of all, Denise makes a very good point, and just as a reminder, I think we talked about it, Denise, the LA Unified School District vets all their tutors. Ariana, who's not 25, was a tutor, and they put her through so many questionnaires, you name it, that that could be a source for you, to resources, to ask them what they put these kids through before they were allowed to tutor any of the kids. So my question is not a question. My comment is a comment, and I wanted to say to both of you, thank you for what you're doing. You are making a difference in the world. I am extremely grateful. We are extremely grateful. There's a need for you, and all that dedication, all that you did is well worth it. So all to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Michelle, I see your camera turned on. Did you have a question? You're muted though. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. What my question was just the eating disorders. One population I see underserved and under-recognized a lot of times is boys, but there are, young men out there with eating disorders, and just wanted to throw that in and find out if you all have any resources yet on your website and what direction that might be heading.
You're absolutely right. It is an underserved community, and we do want to get some stories up there as soon as possible from young men. Now, of course, it's hard to get these stories because not everybody wants to bare their soul and their difficulties. And we try to get kids over 18 because they're legally okay to, and we have some that are under and their parents both sign off. But there's a wonderful thing that happens to some of these kids, because when they become mentors and they tell their stories, it puts them in a mentorship role and it helps them with their recovery. So there's a very positive thing that happens. We have resources on our eating disorder page
Absolutely.
for that, and they're very important. And so anybody who has a young man who has this problem can find resources there.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you all are doing. It's so important.
All right. Any other questions? I only have the first screen up, second screen. Any other? I think Chris Norgard has another hand. Go for it, Chris.
Me, can I go ahead?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. The scope of this is so wide and so deep that I almost hate to mention this, but it's occurred to me hearing you that I have a friend who has started a school on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, a school for girls, although they're now doing, I think, a companion for boys. And, those kids are the most disadvantaged imaginable, high teen suicide, alcoholism, and for the girls, even some kind of remnants of the warrior culture treatment. I wonder, do you think there's any way to prepare a version of this for kids like that and for schools like that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these issues just stem from the fact that nobody has taught anybody what to do with their feelings. In other words, we teach reading, writing, arithmetic, and everyone has an emotion from the moment they're born until the moment they die. And if you don't understand where your emotions are coming from, what they mean, and how to work with them, you're at the mercy of that river. And if the emotions are high and the rapids are high, you're just going wherever they take you versus learning what to do with them. And so obviously social emotional learning is incredibly important, and that's what they're starting to do. And that's an aspect of what we would like to also put on our site. And that applies to everyone, but that's going to take a couple generations before that can fully come into effect. And what we can do right now is help this generation of kids that really, the ones suffering are usually the ones that are the most sensitive, who are going to be our creators, our empathetic leaders, some of the most important people in our society. And so
it's really important. But to answer your question, we would love to have, Native American stories in every category. Just like we were saying, it's like we want to have every every race, every gender, every socioeconomic level. And it would be amazing to have the access to be able to go and speak to people on, at that school on a reservation, and to include those stories so that they populate every single category.
Should I?
Yeah, I'll try to connect you with them. Thank you. Yeah.
Fabulous.
I'm going to put my email in the chat here so that if you want to reach me, you can. It's jeffdirect1@gmail.com, or what's your?
And also through the website too. You
Yeah.
can connect to us through the website, on the donate page, on the connect page.
Yeah, there's how to contact us. But
Right.
You sent
Gilda
that to
also.
Lynn privately.
Oh, I sent it to private. Okay, let me just.
And I will, as I've heard different people's interest, I can also connect you folks together as well. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Nicole, was that a new question? That was the old one, and Michelle, those
No, I don't know how to take my question off.
I don't know either.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Enjoy the hand, all I can say.
Okay, cool. Very good, very good. So if there's no other questions or comments, I have a question. How can we help you? I know you mentioned you're looking for volunteers, you're looking for funding. You mentioned that you're connecting with colleges. How can we help you?
Wow, we're trying to get the word out. If people have connections directly to specific schools, an introduction so that we can talk to college counselors, health teachers, psychology teachers, if there's a mental health club at the school, because what we need is students to watch some of the videos and fill out a questionnaire that we've created, because it's really important that we show proof of concept going forward and getting funding. We're speaking to foundations. Obviously, the first question is, how do we know this is going to work?
We know it's going to work.
We know it's going to work. The feedback's been great, but we need, the paperwork that says that they watched it and it changed their thoughts and their behavior and their attitude about mental health, and they learned where to find help. So that's a big piece of it.
And we're also, going to have to come up with a board as we form our own 501c3. And so we'll need, ideas of leaders who want to be involved in something like this. And anybody who knows, there are certainly companies like Lululemon and others that support mental health and teen mental health specifically. And we're looking for contacts there, because if we could get a couple anchor sponsors, we could hire more people and get more videos out sooner and connect with more people. It's all about, we've pushed the boulder up the hill to get it to this point so we can show it to you. Now we really want to grow it so it can have a greater impact, because we're kind of showing you a house that's just framed up right now. We want to get the walls and all the other stuff on it so it's really filled out. We have 42 videos. We'll have 44 by the end of this weekend. But I don't really see the site being fully functional until we're at 200 videos or 100. But it's helpful right now. It's helpful right now for the people who connect with the videos and look at the information.
And you're looking at the team. There's the two of us. We have a website person, and we have 2 volunteers that are helping us with social media and some marketing.
And our boards, our advisory boards.
And we have our advisory boards, of course. Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for sharing your story. I welled up right at the beginning, and I welled up right in the middle and at the end as well. Thank you for sharing so openly with us. I know this is going to be a resource to parents, to teachers, to counselors. And I'm thankful that some of our administrators were here, and just for everybody and your responses to what teensforteenshelp.org is doing. Thank you for being here. The 4 books that you guys are going to give out, on the survey, we did not ask for your names. So I know Nicole, she told me that she filled out the survey. I know Denise filled out the survey. If you were somebody who filled out the survey, please let me know in the chat, or I don't know, let me know so I can get those books to you. I'll get them to you. So just let me know who you are. And I think that's it for me. I'm going to give the mic back to Aaron.
Thank you, Yelda. Well said. Thank you so much to our speakers, Jeff and Kathy Long. Very important information. Thank you so much. We will be donating a book on your behalf to our local Kroll Public Library. So thank you. All right, folks, I am putting in the link to the East Meets West Community Town Hall taking place this Sunday, 5/2. That's the registration link. Please join us on that day. Please don't forget, we are dark during lunch next week, and we are meeting for the wine tasting event in the evening. So please join us if you can that Thursday evening. Rotarians and guests, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, thank you to Jeff and Kathy. Thank you to Beverly Oegashi. Thank you to Lynn Crandall, Larry Williams, Chloe Wong, Lana Wong, Emma Wong, Michelle Garrett, Karina Rivera, and Jennifer Wee. Thank you all for coming to Rotary today. Please come again. The April 29, 2021 meeting of the Rotary Club of San Marino is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you. Great
Thank
meeting.
you.
Everyone.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jean. It was nice to meet your daughter.
Aaron, just to clarify, is it
Yes, sir.
May 6th? Wait a minute.
May 6th is what were you, what's that?
May 6th, you're going to be dark?
Yes, next Thursday, we're going to be dark for lunch, but we are having the wine tasting event. I hope you can join us. Okay, all right. Thank you, Annie. Are you there? Maybe Kenny. Okay.
All right, how did you think it went?
Oh, it was great. Oh my God. As a parent of 2 teens.
Yeah.
Yeah.